Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and or girls, it is time to begin. Let me make a couple adjustments here. We're doing things from the road, so apologies for the roughness of some of today's some of the elements of today's event. Definitely appreciate you guys being along for the ride, being willing to do something a little bit different, but here we go. Starting with the Fear and Greed Index. First off, ladies and gentlemen, your comments are live on screen. Be sure that you are on your best behavior because we are, well, what you do in these chat comments, that goes into eternity. No pressure at all. But yeah, as you come in and say hello in the chat, be sure that you are hitting that like button and you're also hitting the subscribe button. Let me know what the quality of this stream is as well. I am not on my native internet network. I'm not on my native ISP, and I'm also live streaming from my laptop. So I've kind of simplified some of the visual elements, simplified some of the other elements that go into the live stream, and I think that's probably going to help us out in the long run to have a much cleaner, better show, I think. Hey, we got comments coming in. William says, good morning. Good morning, William. Thank you, guys. Jack is also here from Meta Safe Moon. He's really excited about Meta Safe Moon. I cannot blame him. Who wouldn't be, guys? Right now, there's so many projects out there that are just so exciting. Currently, though, we are still in the territory of neutrality with the crypto markets, right? The Bitcoin, or the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, is currently showing a score of 47. We haven't had that reset since last night. That rolls over at 5 p.m. Pacific time every day. So we'll see that change in the next little while. But as of right now, as you come in, be sure to leave your comments about and questions about all things cryptocurrency, about all markets. We talk about everything in this show. So if you haven't already shared the stream, please do. But currently, Fear and Greed Index at 47. What does that mean? Well, we'll see very soon. This is an indicator that comes from the overall market sentiment. This is the aggregate of all of the markets across Twitter and Reddit. And it pretty much, if we're boiling it down to its essence, it pretty much shows us how people are feeling and thinking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, more than ever, this also includes meme coins, and whether you like that or not, that means that some of this number here is calculated based on people's feelings towards Doge and Shiba Inu, as well as other projects like them, SafeMoon, others. You may like them, you may dislike them, but the point is that these scores come from sort of measuring market sentiment on those projects, and you can't really deny that. That's just a fact of the market right now. Jack D is in the chat saying, legend. Hey, appreciate you being here, Jack. Anthony Higgs is in the chat as well saying, hello. Guys, your chats are live. We do not filter, we do not censor. Wherever possible, we like to show your chat on the screen. It's important to us to be as interactive as possible, so keep them coming, guys. Love to see it. All right, moving into the market sentiment, let's figure out why these scores have gone to neutrality and why they've been recently in fear and not just greed as before. After all, Bitcoin is trading very close to its all-time high. We're getting close to a rejection of that $60,000 mark for Bitcoin. We'll check into our chart in just a minute here. First off, here's, oh, no. It definitely did get rejected. Dropped all the way down to 54,000. So 54.5. So we did see a big red candle on the 2-hour there since last night, since we did our last snapshot. So unfortunately, we're veering away from that MACD convergence into a divergence and staying with the histogram down below, staying bearish. Bummer. This is a simple indicator that I keep here because I'm kind of a simple trader, right? I'm not really a technician. It's not what we offer on this show. We don't pretend to. We have so many peers in the YouTube publishing space who are quite good at that. So strongly encourage you to take a look at their channels if what you're looking for is technical analysis. But it's safe to say we've been below this line long enough that it's time to extend this range. Okay, so now we've got to look at this as a possibility, right, of a range where we break out to the downside. I sincerely hope that's not the case, but if it does happen, at least we see now this is where we're operating. We're not operating in the above 60K range anymore. We're now between 50 and 60K. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, really buckle up. It could get very, very bumpy from here. Many have called for an extreme drawdown before we see a parabolic run up or a blow off top, maybe even a blow off double top at the end of this market, very similar to how we saw in 2017. For my part, I'm tempering my expectations. Dollar cost averaging in way back here at this range, right, between the 30 to 40K, or rather 40 to 50K, and then prior to that, the 30 to 40K range was very, very comfortable. It was a decision that I don't regret one bit, and I was very public about the fact that dollar cost averaging in at these ranges was part of my strategy. It's simple. It's something anybody with a bank account and a connection to, say, Swan Bitcoin can do. So I was using that as a means to get more exposure to Bitcoin right now. Of course, my online store also accepts Bitcoin, and I was happy to pull in Bitcoin orders from people who had been holding their Bitcoin since before it broke into this range. So moving back in time, we see that when it finally did break through an all-time high, print a new all-time high from the 20s, right, or the teens into the 20s, and then finally breaking through into the $30,000 range, people were ecstatic. People who were long-term holders were happy to divest some of their Bitcoin organically, right, at the point of sale, using Bitcoin like peer-to-peer currency. And I was happy to accept it in my online store, so I did. And both dollar cost averaging and accepting Bitcoin at this price range, and then even here into this sort of yellow sideways range, very happy to do that. Once we got into the red zone, though, right, it's just like a stoplight, right? Green means go. I was happy to do it here. Yellow means, go faster, right? Make your move quickly or slow down, right? Like just be decisive and be cautious. And red definitely means stop, right? You're not going to punch through that. So at this range here, I was definitely not dollar cost averaging way up here into the violet space, right? Beyond the visible light spectrum. I got very worried about dollar cost averaging in, very worried about accepting Bitcoin at this range because it was so obvious that there was the possibility of a drawdown. But then, yeah, back in this range again, down in the green area, I had no problem continuing that DCA, no problem continuing to accept Bitcoin at the point of sale to hold, right? Not necessarily to sell. And then same with the yellow range again. I'm not unhappy with that. But here we are back in this really weird in-between space, right? Again, that red range, which for me is just not something I'm super happy with. Bitcoin here, is it a long-term hold? Of course, right? Over the long run, Bitcoin's mission and vision will succeed. I genuinely believe that. It will succeed. There are no doubts about that. Hey guys, I'm seeing plenty of people who are lurking in the live stream. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and be sure to share this with a friend. John Dale is in the chat saying 50K incoming. John, you may be right. Taking a look at these charts once again, guys, you may be right with that big drawdown, right? That 10% candle, guys. This is something Bitcoin is known for. If you can't handle 10% drawdown in 2 hours, you're in the wrong asset class. You're in the wrong game. If this happened in real estate, we'd be worried about like literal asteroids crashing to Earth, like the actual end of the world. But in Bitcoin, right, in cryptocurrency land, this is just, this is just Friday. This is just Black Friday at that. This could just be some people divesting some of their profits to go and buy Christmas presents for their family, right, for their girlfriend, right? Help somebody in their life feel special by getting rid of some of their Bitcoin. That's totally a possibility, right? It's totally a plausible explanation for why we see a 10% drawdown in a 2-hour candle, right? 2-hour range. We can zoom out and go back to our 1-day candle. In fact, you know what? We are on our 1-day candle. Good grief. Let me jump into our 2-hour. Pardon me. But yeah, hopefully I think I've got my compressor set up in such a way that my coughing, if I do cough, I apologize. If I do cough, it shouldn't be right up in your face. But yeah, the 1-day, the 2-hour shows a much different sign, guys. I apologize. Much different chart. But that 1 day is where we see that 10% drawdown over the last 24 hours. Not a shock, right? Going from Thanksgiving to Black Friday, not a shock to see people selling, not a shock to see big moves, right? And that definitely is sell pressure, right? You see all that volume double from the day before. Lots of sell pressure. So not too shocked to see that. Could be any number of explanations, but certainly one possible explanation is because it is Thanksgiving and Black Friday, moving into Cyber Monday. This entire weekend, right, guys? All bets are off. We could see more red candles, more blood in the streets, and if we do see 50K incoming, Yeah, that puts me into territory I'm very comfortable with. Way back here. Very, very comfortable indeed with this range here, this yellow range sideways. I hope that we do print, or that we do draw down from where we currently are in the next 24 hours or leading into Cyber Monday, because that would be a Christmas miracle for me and my family, right? To acquire more Bitcoin below $50,000. My kids want more exposure. My wife wants more exposure. I think their heads are in the right place as far as Christmas gifting goes. We want crypto in this household. So please, market, make it happen. Guys, moving into our fear and greed index and maybe some of the root causes for some of our fear and greed. We see that we've been on this roller coaster the last couple of days and this last week. I suspect we're going to see more fear after tonight's recalculation of the fear and greed index at 5 p.m. Pacific time. But, you know, that's a future-looking statement. You do with that what you will. But I suspect that's what we're going to see is markets turning back towards fear, or crypto markets turning back towards fear, even though I think there's a plausible explanation for why. I think we're going to see fear, right? Blood is in the streets. People get fearful. Olympus DAO. This is some of the news cycle as to why people are nervous. Olympus DAO fork Snowdog was hit by a 90% crash. Lost 90% of its value since its planned token buyback. And it's such a cute picture of this, you know, this is a hybrid husky right there. Beautiful dog getting snow thrown at its face. And what does it do? It just tries to lap it up, right? Lick it out of the air. Such a man's best friend, for real. Dogs are just great. But Snowdog, not so great. 90% drawdown. If you were holding it, ouch. Your holdings were just run into the ground. The chart just looks absolutely brutal with massive trading volume, and after that dump, nada. This is pretty much the faithful, right? The hodlers of last resort are holding on for dear life, as the acronym suggests, and it's just not going to be great. So Snowdog calls itself a decentralized reserve meme coin. Well, tell you what, people who are holding on to those reserves, again, hodlers of last resort, they're showing their true colors. They're definitely hodlers. They are the faithful. They are the few. But there's no more volume there. This is bad news, right, guys? Olympus DAO, this is not the first time it's been forked. We talked about on our last live segment about how it was just kind of funny, right? We got a chuckle out of the fact that you've got characters like Tai Lopez coming out of the woodwork again. It's not the top, but these are top signals when guys like Tai Lopez are saying, hey, I've made a product for you, and they fork Olympus DAO. Well, good luck with that. We don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but OHM itself was hacked. Now the fork was maybe not hacked, but clearly it dropped a lot of value in the token buyback, when the token buyback basically got everybody selling all their stuff, dumping onto the buyback partners. So the team took one on the chin, trying to do a buyback, attempting to show what I think was some goodwill there, but this just backfired in the most spectacular way. Guys, I see in the comment section, I see some folks who've been commenting, but I see only the same comments coming in. Let me just strongly encourage you, if you're lurking, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click the share icon, and then click the thumbs up as well. Every one of those buttons that you click helps YouTube to know this is content that you find valuable and that could be valuable to somebody else. So that means a lot to me, means a lot to mi familia, means a lot to the community in general. I don't know why we're seeing so many lurkers. I feel good about it, right? Maybe this is a healthy sign for cryptocurrency markets, but maybe it's also a sign that we need to branch out and we need to talk to people who don't always show up in our comment section. So if you're new here, please do make a comment. Please do say hello. Your comments are on screen, so we'll interact with those. Ask good questions, answer good questions if you have answers. Stay engaged, guys. Be the mentor that you wish you had. That's one of the core tenets here at MineYourBiz. All right, jumping back into our markets here, though, that's Snowdog, guys. Are you holding Snowdog? I'm not. So I got 99 problems, but a 90% drawdown on an Olympus DAO fork is not one. Moving on, guys, this is our other news element for today. I think this is just good feedback, right? None of what you see on this show is legal, financial, business, investing, or other advice, but you know who can give you that kind of advice? A CPA. So Shahan Chandra, I'm gonna just butcher his last name, but he's the head of tax strategy at CoinTracker, says that most people are reporting art-based NFTs as collectibles. People should track their cost basis. That this is the single most important thing, especially with NFTs, and then how much they sell it for. So it really is that simple, right? If you're planning to buy low and sell high, you must record how low you bought it for, how high you bought it for, so that the delta in between, right, or the difference right there in between is your capital gain. It's that simple, guys. It's basic arithmetic, knowing what you paid for it, knowing what you sold it for. And that's really it. It's not rocket science per se. That said, there's more to crypto tax reporting than just NFTs. But NFT tax reporting, he calls it a gray area. Because right now, we don't have NFT specific tax guidance, and I don't think there will be any NFT specific tax guidance coming out soon. So it's pretty nuts, guys. Now, is it too bold to say that perhaps people are using their NFT purchases as a bit of a tax strategy to be able to couch some of their capital gains into an asset class where there's less regulatory clarity? I don't know. Certainly, is it the 1031 exchange in real estate markets and in other capital gains, like large asset markets, where you roll some of your capital gains into another investment before there is a realized tax event? I'm not sure if people are using the 1031 exchange as part of their NFT tax strategy. They might not be. So it's hard to say. Again, I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not a tax attorney. I don't offer that kind of advice, even when I am being hired as a consultant, right? So you have to do your own research there. But I'm very, very, very curious about that. We got some comments coming in from Scott Barry. Says, "What's up? How's the turkey? How's the turkey hanging?" Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I am like dying here from laughter. Give me just a second here, guys. I've got to mute myself. I'm about to blow your eardrums out with my coughing. Whew. And I'm back. And I'm alive. Yikes. That was... Oh my gosh. That was so close. Seriously, Scott, you absolutely caught me right in the funny bone there. You did. That was hilarious. James Henderson is in the chat, says, "Hi, Seth. Love the format." Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. This is important to me, that we have plenty of engagement and that we see people's chats on screen, and that we just have a simpler format right now. Right? This is something I can do from a laptop, something I can do from the road. There's no excuse, right? Like, with the world being the way it is, right? Tech being the way it is, we can always do something like this. Greg Moravec is in the chat, says, "Morning, not lurking." Haha, ... Cameron Eastman's in the chat, asks specifically about a coin. We can get into that when we get into our portfolio tracker. Maybe we can add that. T-Bone Gaming says, "Good afternoon." Good afternoon. Good to see our friends from the north out in Canada saying hello. T-Bone Gaming, great channel, great father-son duo channel. If you're not subscribed or if you're into that sort of content, you should definitely go check them out. All right, guys, let's see who else is in the chat. Senti-Man says, "I've been subscribed since January 2020. Love this channel." Thank you, Senti. I really appreciate that. That's so kind of you to chime in and show your support there, guys. But let's talk about those tax strategies. Do you think that people are trying to use NFTs as a means to sort of couch their capital gains from cryptocurrency purchases into something that has less regulatory clarity? Because I think that's kind of what I'm seeing between the lines here. I think that may be what this CPA, Jahan, is saying, is that people, between the lines, he may be saying people are looking for a way to legally, right, within the current framework, decrease their tax liability. And if there's less clarity on NFTs, then maybe that's the way they're doing it. The article itself goes on. First off, Morgan Chittum is the author here. Want to give credit where it's due on blockworks.co. Morgan writes, "With non-fungible token sales skyrocketing this year and the end of 2021 approaching, NFT holders could find themselves in a bit of a quandary when it comes to tax season. To get an idea of what collectors need to do to prepare, I spoke with Shahan, a certified public accountant and head of tax strategy at CoinTracker. And the primary question is, how have owners had to categorize their NFTs when reporting their assets? Are NFTs usually categorized as intangible assets and have to pay according to capital gains taxes? This is important, guys, because there is provision for this as intangible assets, and then there are also some other collectibles with that do have guidance as securities even. NFTs are in a very strange gray area that don't quite fit, I think, perfectly into either. So this is a great question, right? Asking really good questions. And Shahan answers, it's kind of a gray area. For tax purposes, most people are reporting them as collectibles. When you create collectibles and you make money, that results in capital gain taxes. Can you clarify what processes are in place to report NFTs? Seems like a multi-step and murky process. For example, holding an NFT is one thing to report, but since you're using cryptocurrency to buy that NFT, well, that in itself is a taxable event because crypto is considered property in the eyes of the IRS, right? And then he responds, in 2014, the IRS came in and said cryptocurrencies are treated as property, so that's the guidance that we have around crypto taxation. However, this year, NFTs have really skyrocketed. Right now, we don't have NFT-specific tax guidance, and I don't think there will be any time soon. I believe most art-based NFTs should be treated as collectibles. If this is the case, high net worth individuals may be subject to a maximum 28% long-term capital gains tax rate compared to the 20% maximum tax rate that regular cryptocurrencies are subjected to. Guys, I gotta say, 20% maximum tax rate for cryptocurrencies, if you're running clean books, is not the worst possible thing. I've definitely heard of worse, especially when you're looking at particularly high net worth individuals reporting on gains that seem to come out of nowhere, right? What was $100 just a few years ago is now $1,000 or more, right? And I'm talking about the majors, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, the tentpole cryptocurrencies, right? The pillars of the cryptocurrency market, things that you don't expect to go parabolic, they just occasionally do, right? As we saw from 2019 into today, right? 2021. We see massive gains in some of these major cryptocurrencies, and not to mention the stuff we'll see in our portfolio later on. But I think the bottom line is check your cost basis, make sure that you understand what you bought it for, make sure that you understand what you sold it for, and track what cryptocurrency you used to purchase it. I don't know if there's automated software for this right now, and I think that's why he's saying there's a bit of an issue with NFT tax reporting in particular, is a bit of a problem there. Iniquitous Prime says, just like rich people buying fine art to hide their money. Yep, I think you're not wrong. Scott Berry says maybe, but that would be risky. You could lose money if the floor drops. That's true too, right? There's a million ways to get wrecked in cryptocurrency. Taxes is really just one. So if you're not careful, you can definitely lose your shirt some other way in the cryptocurrency and the collectibles or NFT markets. I think I've got to be careful calling them collectibles now, right? Because apparently there are some ways that you can call them collectibles, but then other circumstances, they're not. So definitely do be cautious there, guys. All right, guys, just wanted to drop that. And as always, we have both of these articles, links directly to them in the description of this video. I want to make sure that you are always empowered to make the best possible choices that you can by having these data sources for yourself. Moving over to whattomine.com, we've got our stacked ranking of GPU mining profitability. Going to go ahead and hit refresh on this at 14 cents per kilowatt hour power, because that's going to be a better national average than the usual 10 cents per kilowatt hour. It bears mentioning also, guys, we don't normally chart Bitcoin versus Ethereum, but as you can see at the top of this page, right now, even with Bitcoin printing a newer low, a new local bottom over the last week, it has not seemed to affect Ethereum as radically or as drastically as we normally see. Ethereum has not dropped down below $4,000. Knock on wood. We'll see what happens over the weekend and moving into Cyber Monday. Anything is fair game here, right? However, same with Zcash and Monero. Zcash has clearly, or Zcash has clearly popped way up in its per coin price. We mentioned that the other day when taking a look at mining profits. It's put itself back on the map again. So if you do have an Equihash miner and you're not mining Zcash right now, I think you may be leaving money on the table there. Clearly, it's gone way up. But the point is, there seems to be less correlation between Bitcoin and some of the other alts, but primarily Ethereum. Ethereum seems to be somewhat Bitcoin drawdown resistant for the moment. But take note, when Bitcoin sneezes, the rest of the crypto markets catch a cold. It's just a matter of time. 24-hour profits for the RTX 3090 have gone up. This is kind of nice. Just a tiny little bit, but they've gone up by a few cents after we subtract the cost of our power. We've got a new contender as well in our top profitable coins, where we typically see Flux on the leaderboard for our Team Green cards. We now see Zero based on the ProgPow algorithm, or a variant of the ProgPow algorithm. So if you really want to heat your basement, really want to heat your house, you can always move to Zero. and subtract that cost from your gas bill. It's not much, but if that's really the direction you want to go, it's always an option right now. So we see some new contenders on the leaderboard, new faces with our GPU mining profitability. Guys, Radeon 7 also doing phenomenally well, as it typically does, but Ethereum and Ethereum Classic are top of the list for the Team Red leader. All right, moving down the list to see what else is on the leaderboard. Yep, wasn't going to be long before we saw Flux still on the leaderboard, just a little bit farther down. And that's for the RX 6900 XT, kind of an oddball card there, slightly different memory configuration or controller, which winds up giving it slightly different hashing and performance characteristics versus the 6800, even though on paper, they're the same for Ethereum. Clearly, they're not the same for Zell Hash or Kryptonite GPU. There's a bit of a divergence there between these two models, even though we see that on Ethereum, they're quite similar performance between these two parts. So not sure exactly what the architectural differences are that account for that, but it appears that the 6900 XT is a little bit better, just based on this breakdown, a little better for Flux, which is great to see. Equilibria is back on the list as well. Ion is also a contender for the 3060 Ti, which is great to see. Ion has a great community, runs a great clean community, and even runs some great community events. If you're not even interested in the coin itself or the network itself or their future roadmap, you might be interested in poker, and they always run a really fun game with a lot of GPU mining community members there, a lot of great community luminaries. Not me, I don't play, it's just not my jam, but I do like seeing the rest of the community there. Hey, we see Anonymous Miner in the chat. Speak of the devil, he shall appear. He says, what's going on, sir? Golden Wolf is throwing up the Savage Mine horns. Guys, you can always throw those up. Nick Briggs is asking a question that I'm not sure if I fully understand it, but it asks for real. Yep, maybe. I think that's my response. So a question that I don't really know what you're referring to, my answer is always maybe. But yeah, outlook unclear. I gotta shake the magic 8 ball with a question like that. Golden Wolf is also saying hello to Golden Miners. Stefan Samet is in the chat saying, Happy Black Friday Massacre. Looking at the chart, there is blood everywhere. Greetings from Belgium, and don't forget to smash those thumbs ups. Hey, I appreciate that very much, Stefan, and thank you for saying hello to us all the way from Belgium. T-Bone says, I'll stick with Flux. Hey, I appreciate that. Anonymous Miner says, ready for poker again. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna have to join you at some point, just to say hello during those live streams. I don't play. It's just a long-term ideological thing for me. I don't play games of chance, even when there's a skill element in the game, such as poker, right? An element of skill. I do not play games of chance or any sort of gambling games. I know, stick in the mud. I do have my vices, but I generally don't broadcast them like we might on a poker tournament. I apologize, guys. I know, Mr. Goody Two Shoes over here. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but that's just one of those things I never got in the habit of doing, so, you know. Not going to change now. Got a track record to keep up, I guess. But Ethereum Classic is on our list of profitable coins to mine. Flux, as expected. Here's a bit of an unexpected twist, though. Leaderboard for the RTX 3070 Ti shows 0 ahead of Ethereum. There you go. This is one of those oddball cards where ProgPow is just going to smash through the Ethereum mining performance. Now, a couple of these 3000 series Ti cards are technically LHR models. Some of them are not, but some of them are just shipped natively as LHR. You guys let me know in the chat. Am I correct in saying here that 3070 Ti, I believe, is one of those native LHR models where there is no such thing as a 3070 Ti that is non-LHR? Maybe I'm off base there, but I thought that was my understanding for the 3070 Ti, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. Appreciate your feedback on that one. Might be one of the few, actually, where that's the case. But moving down the list, guys, for our profitability, Zero keeps showing up, right? Keeps turning up like a bad penny. Ion also in the lead for the 3070 LHR. Not a shock, right? LHR generally only pertains to the ETH hash or the Dagger Hashimoto numbers, so being able to see Equihash or ProgPow or some other algorithm outperform ETH hash on some of those cards is not too big a shock. But in the case of the 3070 LHR, Equihash is just so much farther ahead that you're looking at a good 50 cents in delta there between those two coins that you could mine. So definitely cool to see. Anonymous Miner says that get it, appreciate your support still. Hey, appreciate that. Definitely appreciate you guys being here. T-Bone Gaming says Seth Counts Cards has been kicked out of Vegas. Oh man, he's on to me. Shoot, don't let him onto my con, T-Bone. They're supposed to think I have no skills. Bryce Stevens here says, where does an AMD Radeon RX 580 fall on that list? Hey Bryce, that's a great question. So we're not quite there yet. Moving down the list, we see that Vega 56 and Vega 64 are higher in profit than the card you just mentioned. Even the GTX 1080 Ti is much higher than the card you just mentioned. Also bears mentioning that for the Vega 64, and I imagine for the 56 as well, Firo with Firo POW is quite performant, but so is Ergo, right? Ergo with the Auto Lycos algorithm is quite good on HBM2 cards. I'm surprised we didn't see it with the Radeon 7. In fact, normally it's on the leaderboard, and we don't normally see Ethereum Classic. But moving back down the list, those are our HBM2 cards, the Vega series cards. From that point, guys, gonna mute myself for just a second here so I don't cough in y'all's face. Clean and clear. All right, guys. Moving back down the list, Firo is also for on the RX 5600 Team Red cards here. The 2070 Super also showing a lot of Ethereum love and Ethereum Classic love. Dagger Hashimoto is definitely firing on all cylinders for a lot of these cards, guys. It could be a function of coin price, could be a function of network difficulty, could be the fact that everybody rushed over to Flux, and so now we're starting to see that profits are not quite as high as they once were. But it's still here. It's on the leaderboard, right? So the RTX 2070 shows it as well. But moving down the list, guys, again, for these LHR cards, Zero is really showing up. I mean, it's showing up a lot, right? So if you're seeing Zero and the ProgPow algorithm or other ProgPow algorithm coins, maybe consider it. I don't know if Zero is the one, right? I don't know if it's that mine and hold coin. It's not in my portfolio right now. I don't want to say anything bad about it. But the fact that it's on the leaderboard now means, it tells me we should add it to our GPU portfolio in the next segment of the show. Equilibria is still on the list as well. Firo, Flux, not too many surprises here. But to answer Bryce's question from before, here's that RX 580 8 gig. Still printing almost $2 of profit every single day, about $1.80 of profit every single day. That's just astounding. That's unbelievable for a card that is as old as the RX 580 8 gig. Now the 4 gig is a different question. Right? It's a different matter altogether. Same with the RX 480 8 gig. Now these should be much closer. They're basically the same core. They can be tuned to roughly the same performance as well, even though there's almost a full year of difference. Rather, there's quite a lot of months difference between the release date for these two cards. They're functionally the same core, functionally the same memory bandwidth, functionally the same memory on each, and then with different controllers and different types of memory based on the AIB, the partners that create the final product that goes to market. So your mileage may vary. It really does have to do with the last mile manufacturer that takes these chips made by AMD, and then how they treat it when it finally goes onto a board, gets a heatsink and fan slapped on top, and then is delivered to retail stores. You also have the silicon lottery on top of that. So any number of factors, but these are very, very close in performance. Just something to be aware of there. When you see the Radeon RX 500 or 400 series cards, they're pretty much the same. And specifically the 470 all the way up through the 580. They're basically the same core. They can be they can be tuned to perform almost exactly the same. Moving down the list though, guys, no more surprises I think in the number of coins that show up until we get down to the Radeon R9 Fury. We see Zano and Beam on the list, which is really cool to see, but there's Zero again at almost $1 of profit every single day. 30 cents, nearly 30 cents improvement on the daily profit over Zano and Beam. So Zero is something that I think probably needs to be taken seriously here. We should put it in the portfolio just to see how it's tracking right now. Could be that it had a recent news event that helped prop up its price, which is helping people to earn more money on this coin. But yeah, gosh, what else do you have? You have Quark Chain. Wow, Quark Chain. Where did you come from? Well, clearly it's on the list. R9 380 is showing some profit, about less than 20 cents per day. Clearly, of these three, Ethereum Classic, I think, is the longest term hold for a lot of members of our audience. Ion as well, though. We got a lot of Ion faithful in the audience, but Ethereum Classic, we keep coming back to that. It's a standby that almost nobody can argue against, right? Because it's got those strong fundamentals and the likelihood of miners supporting it after the beacon chain merge for Ethereum. Guys, you tell me, what did I miss here? I think we got pretty much everything there. We'll add Zero to our GPU portfolio in just a second. But before we go there, let's take a look at total value locked on chains, guys. This is important for our DeFi measurements. We take a look at this chart every so often. We bring up that text size for you, make it a little bit easier to read. I got kind of the old man eyes going on over here, and so the least I can do is make that more comfortable for you as well. All right, taking a look at DeFi Llama, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, and Avalanche, then Terra, Luna coming in at a relatively distant fifth in my book. We got almost $3 billion difference in the total value locked there. There's quite a separation, right? Not nearly as close together as Avalanche and Solana right now, or even, I guess Solana and Binance. There's quite a bit of distance between those two as well. Binance Smart Chain is just, it's just taken the DeFi landscape by storm. I'm still surprised at how many people are just so convinced that Binance Smart Chain is the way to go. Fees really do seem to matter more so than decentralization to a lot of users. So couldn't be me. I don't have even that many coins on Binance Smart Chain. Yes, I use it, but I prefer to bridge out of there, and they're getting rid of their native bridge fairly soon. So buyer beware. You could get locked there, right? So what happens on Binance Smart Chain might stay on Binance Smart Chain. That's kind of the Binance way, right? Careful when you leave your stuff with them. When we switch to protocol adoption, we see Polygon in that number 3 spot. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We've talked about it before. We're nearing the 120 protocol mark for Polygon, and they're just continuing to build, guys. They're not slowing down. Phantom is the nearest neighbor at 77. If Polygon were to get, just another couple dozen protocols on board, they would be ahead by almost double from what Phantom has. Now, total value locked is a different proposition. There are more valuable protocols locked on Phantom and on Avalanche and on Solana and others. Right now, Polygon is still below $5 billion in total value locked. And its market cap is also not as high as it could be, not as high as some of these other coins as well. However, adoption is key. When you're talking about these smart contract platforms, these DeFi platforms, there has to be adoption. If there's not adoption, there's not growth. You can't lock value onto a network where there isn't adoption. And on Polygon, you got OpenSea, you've got Coinbase support, you've got native off-ramps for many of the large exchanges where they'll let you transfer your assets out of their exchange on Polygon rails. You've got you've got Ethermine support, right? So those of us who are pretty dedicated Ethereum miners, we're receiving payouts on Polygon. You got unstoppable domain support. You've got NFT support from some of the biggest games in the industry, Animoca Studios and Rev Racing, and some of the other horse racing games as well that are showing a lot of love to the Polygon network. So you got all this adoption among all these protocols that have high utilization, plus a daily transaction throughput that rivaled Ethereum. It actually surpassed Ethereum for a time. So, guys, I'm not going to get tired of talking about it. Polygon has been my pick for weeks, for months. When you heard other people in the GPU mining space talking about Ravencoin like it stood a shot at really getting adopted into this ecosystem, or talking about, who knows what else, getting adopted into this ecosystem, who was telling you about Polygon? That's right, this guy. I still think it's true that Polygon has headroom for growth, and I think that the protocol adoption is just proving that point. DeFi is happening on Polygon, whether you like it or not. So the question is, are you on board? Because I think, really, if you're not on board, you might be leaving fees and profits on the table. We got SerpentX Tech in the chat, guys. Hey, Vega, thanks for showing up and being supportive. Definitely appreciate it. Great to see a familiar face. Guys, another great creator in the scene here. We got Anonymous Miner, SerpentX Tech, and others. If you're not subscribed, please do show love to our friends in the GPU mining community. And Anonymous Miner says, 35 thumbs up. Smash the thumbs up. Hey, appreciate that, guys. Don't lurk. We keep on seeing a lot of lurkers this time of year, or this side of the market. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, people just hanging out, not giving thumbs ups, not sharing, not subscribing. Come on now, don't do us dirty. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Appreciate you being here live, though. Anonymous Miner also saying hello over to Serpent X Tech, congratulating him on a great video today, guys. Here's the thing: Serpent X, the homie Vega, is always putting out great content. That's his secret, Cap. It's always great. He doesn't quit. He's like the Energizer Rabbit. Don't sleep on him. Really, guys, I'm serious. Follow the fam. All right, guys, that's our DeFi Llama report. Let's jump into our portfolios. CoinGecko on our GPU mining portfolio. Pop up this text size for you guys. Old man eyes here. I'm gonna do that for my own comfort and for your benefit as well. Flux still in the #1 spot. Let me move Dark Reader off its dark mode duties. We already got dark mode over here on CoinGecko. Thank you very much. That's a little better. Want to eliminate our color palette there. But our total P&L for this side of the portfolio is pretty good, guys. We're almost 70% up for the entire portfolio. Some are stronger than others, of course. This is an average. Our average is 70% up. If you had a basket that included all of these coins, you'd be 70% up. But let's go ahead and, as promised, add Zero to the mix. Zero, come here. Come here. We love you, Zero. Yeah. Come here, Zero. Alrighty, down at the bottom of the list now, because we do not have an entry just yet. SBTC and TBTC, some synthetic wrapped Bitcoins, Bitcoin representations on Ethereum and on various smart chains. They have not been added yet either. They're going to have a similar profit to our other wrapped Bitcoin representations like WBTC and RenBTC. Not the same, though. You'll notice that they're a little bit different there. Just be aware there are differences. Not all wrapped Bitcoins are the same. Some are more centralized than others, I'll say first off. And then others are fully algorithmically or synthetically generated, like SBTC. I prefer this. You see, TBTC as well. It's still showing a current market price of $56,000. It didn't get the memo that Bitcoin has had a drawdown today. So it's pretty cool. Some of these synthetic algorithms or synthetic wrapped assets, they're generated in a different way, and so they preserve some of their value for a little bit longer. They're a little decoupled from the native asset, and they do represent the native asset in a more decentralized way. Just something to be aware of, guys. Not all wrapped assets are the same. You should definitely do your research there before you get involved in any of these. Some can lock you out remotely, some can remotely burn, some can cause issues. All right. John Germain says, not lurking. Greg Moravec, spies. Wow, this chat is out of control, guys, as always. And, I love to see it. I'm here for it. Absolutely love seeing all of the chat blowing up like this. This is weird. The current... I thought my chat widget was a little bit more involved. I still have to, for this particular representation, guys, I need to improve the way I have chat set up, the way I have on the other setup as well, guys. So I apologize. It's not showing as much of our chat as I'd like for it to, so I apologize for that. I will do better. It's a promise there. We'll get that done after I think we get back to the home studio. What do you think, though? Is this all right? You guys not minding the slight change here in the format? This to your liking? Let me know, guys. Let me know. I want to make sure this is a comfortable show to watch. Serpent X Tech dropping the truth here, says thanks, but it's all about our community. And he is not wrong, right? The GPU mining community, you've heard me say it before, guys. Please don't get tired of me heaping praise on y'all, but I think the GPU mining community understands cryptocurrency from a more fundamental level than maybe any other side of the market. Are we always looking at APYs and ways to compound our interest? Are we always looking at yield farming? No, we're not always looking at that stuff. That's good stuff to learn on top of the fundamentals of Bitcoin, but man, the eternal beginner mindset can get you far in life, and GPU miners, we're always going back to fundamentals. Is there a market for this? Does it have a use case that I could explain like I'm 5? Can I set up the wallet? Will I have to hold on to private keys offline for a while? Can I do that? Well, yeah, I can teach myself how to do that. GPU miners have been doing that for years, holding on to coins that had no user manual, figuring out how to make it work. So I really do mean that too, guys. And I think that Vega's, he's spot on there, right? The community is just the best. I stand by that, guys. Stand by that completely. All right, guys. So looking at this side of the portfolio, though, Zero needs an entry. Let's go ahead and add this by opening up a new tab just for the Zero asset on CoinGecko. And guys, I'm using LibreWolf as my browser, so it's resetting some of my zoom preferences as we go. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. LibreWolf has got to be my favorite Firefox fork, maybe ever. So let's go back to May. May 26th. All right. Oh, hey, and no, come on now. May 26th, 2021, and it did it. All right, cool. Looks like it kind of does things a little bit differently for us here on LibreWolf, this fork of Firefox browser. Hey, that's exciting to see. It looks like, yeah, we're gonna have a nice juicy pump to be able to record here for that price. Go back in time, check out 5:30-ish p.m. Looks like we got 0.228991. All right, jump back, add a transaction. Oof. 8991. Nope, I lied. It's going down. So this is not going to be our most profitable side of the portfolio based on that late May transaction. You guys might not be able to see I'm pulling up a calculator. I am not recording my entire screen. I'm just recording the browser. So bear with me because I've just got a laptop going. It does not make sense for me to record my entire screen. It's just a little bit too cramped, guys. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. So 228991. We're going to divide 1,000 by that amount. Let's select all from our calculator. Copy, and I'm using basic GNOME calculator. So bear with me. Yep, we got that just right. Go ahead and bring our dates into the correct range. Back to May. Hey, 5:30 p.m. How? Yeah, that's funny. This just works a little bit differently, apparently, on this browser. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that. Submit that. It's not gonna be our biggest gainer, but it's not gonna be our biggest loser either. It's gonna be somewhere in the middle of the pack. So let's see. Swap, Firo, Polygon. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, Zero? There you go. So, ooh, no. That is bad, though. So it is one of our biggest losers, actually. Looks like BitTube is our biggest loser, and then Zero, our brand new addition, is in second place. So 47% down since making that new addition, but it's back in the daily profit today. This is one of those strange, sort of unique to cryptocurrency phenomena, right? Where you look at certain coins, you think, that probably makes sense to be able to mine certain things. We should be able to mine certain things with relatively high profits. But then we see this, and we see that over the long term, certain long-term holds don't pan out. They don't play out the way that we hoped for. So we'll see Greg Moravec is dropping the phrase power scalability. Yep, power scalability is a big deal also, guys, in this space. You have to balance a lot of different factors. But here, guys, holding certain coins for long periods of time, it just doesn't always play out the way you'd hope. Over 7 days, we see that it's up 10%, though, and that may be why we're seeing profits now, daily profits now. It could be that the net hash for Zero has kind of dropped, and so since the price went back up, it's pushed it back into profitability, and so we'll likely see that the network difficulty goes up over the next little while because profits have gone up as a result of this price pump, right? It's a little price pop. So it's a crazy little dance we do here, right? Crazy little, tango that we do with cryptocurrency mining. So be careful, even though you see it's in the profit clearly over the last several months, it has not held its value quite as well as some of the others. Even some of the others like Ethereum Classic that, are not doing their very best, but they've held okay, right? A 25% dip in its price is nothing close to nearly 50% down, right? Even Etho is doing better than Zero right now. Though when you look farther up the list, coins like Polygon, Conceal, Ravencoin, and then much more so Flux and Safecoin and Equilibria, they're doing far, far better, right? They've done much, much better over time. All right, moving from GPU mining profitability or GPU mineable coins, let's move over to our hard drive mineable coins and see what's in store over there. Guys, hard drive mineable coins, they're up just a little bit since we first started the portfolio. 24-hour change is up just a tiny bit as well. But realistically, this is not what we bargained for. We were hoping for much higher profits out of this side of the portfolio. And here we are looking at barely break even since creating the portfolio. Storage is up 160%, but we're still at break even in this portfolio. Why? Well, in a word, Chia. Chia is still down. It's down even worse than before, 83% down, below $140. It's nearing $130. It looks like it bounced off of some, found some support at maybe $130, and it's bounced off that support line. Who knows? Maybe that's a dead cat bounce. Maybe we're going to see it drop even further. I sincerely hope not. I know we've got members of the audience who are still farming Chia on fully plotted drives. I know we've got members of the audience that are still hodling Chia based on those plotted drives that they've been holding on to for a while in the hopes that they'll see Chia back over $200 or back over $300. And for your sake, I hope that we do see that. I really do. It brings me no joy to show that we've got in this full lineup that Storage and Saya Coin are doing better than all the rest. MadeSafe Coin as well. At one point, MadeSafe Coin was really out there ripping off faces, melting faces, but it's just not there anymore. Filecoin, even with its larger announcements and the bigger partnerships, has not managed to bring itself, pick itself up by the bootstraps and bring itself back into the kind of profit that we hoped to see. Still down 24%. So our hard drive mining portfolio is in bad shape, guys. That's all there is to it. It's in bad shape. When our biggest winner cannot offset the losses of our biggest loser, or barely offsets the losses of our biggest loser, this side of the portfolio is kind of in trouble. It was previously carrying our full portfolio, and now it's actually dragging it down. So kind of a bummer. You let me know in the comment section, guys. Are you holding any of these? What's your play here? What do you think is your strategy? Do you have a plan? I sincerely hope that you do, and that you're ready to execute the moment you see whatever those market indicators are. Because I'm looking at this, and the only thing I can think is I'm just glad I'm not carrying heavy bags of any of these. That said, it's easy for me to say because I don't have skin in that game. So I don't want to be insensitive, guys. You tell me, what's your play for these hard drive mineable coins? I'm worried about some members of our community because I know some folks have heavy bags. But you tell me what your strategy is. I hope you can make it work. CPU mining coins, though, totally different story. The total P&L were up by hundreds of percentage points, hundreds of basis points, and really, it's the Raptorium show over here, right? Like, we've got Raptorium to thank for this entire, green side of the portfolio. While you see profits of over 3,900%, right? If you'd put $1,000 or mined $1,000 worth of this back in May of this year, you'd be walking away with a clean $39,000 profit. Good Lord, that's tasty. That's just so awesome, guys. Seriously, kudos to anybody who's gotten a really great position in Raptorium, who's gotten really great exposure to Raptorium. I mean, good for you. Sincerely hope you continue to win here, but gotta urge caution, guys. I'm not going to say what goes up must come down because that's not always true. It could be that Raptorium is finding sort of its floor price with a market cap of $45 million right now. This could become the new normal. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it could be that Raptorium mining, since the difficulty's gone up, that it's not the place to go if you're getting into CPU mining right now. You may want to inquire elsewhere, right? But as far as holding Raptorium, if you're in the profit, I'm not going to ever suggest that you dump any of these coins, guys. That we do these projects a massive disservice when we dump. But I would say if you're in the profit with Raptorium, come up with a plan. We just saw some other assets over in the hard drive mining portfolio that took some people off guard. They were not prepared for a quick drawdown. And so if that did happen to Raptorium, or if that did happen to Epic Cash, even if that happened to Quantum Resistant Ledger, would you be prepared for that drawdown? Would you be prepared to see a figure of $40,000 be dropped or chopped in half to $20,000? Now let's get very real. That's double the profit of what you have on Epic Cash. These are unbelievable gains, right? These are like once in a lifetime gains. People don't see this in real estate. People don't see this in stocks. They really don't. Even with dividends and splits and all kinds of other like really great price targets that some stocks hit, this is unbelievable alpha that we see in the cryptocurrency markets. And Raptorium is one of those standout examples of a coin that's just helped so many people do well. But are you ready to see your pie sliced in half, right? And in your mind, see half of the value? Because that can happen. We can have a 50% drawdown day. That happens to your Raptorium bag in this hypothetical, right? With our paper trade here, $1,000 turned into $40,000 or turned into, over $39,000 profit. Are you ready to see that profit margin slashed down to 20K? What would that do to your mental game? Are you prepared? I'm just going to ask you that one question, guys. Are you prepared? If you're not, get prepared, right? We see these markets are volatile, and Bitcoin with its current price right now still kind of dropping downward back into these ranges. We see like Bitcoin, it's been able to surprise some people, right? Been able to surprise some veterans of this space. So if Bitcoin can do that as the king daddy, right? As the most visible cryptocurrency, the thing that for most people is synonymous with cryptocurrency. If Bitcoin can do that, guys, you got to admit, it's possible for Raptorium, isn't it? Number go up until it stops going up. And then sometimes falls sideways and goes down. So prepare yourself. That's all I'm saying. Not asking anyone to dump. Please be very cautious with these projects, right? Collectively, we worked really hard to make sure that they become valuable in a market, right? For traders to go and do what they're going to do with it, and then also see the vision come to fruition, right? Of these builders. So don't go dump, but do have a plan. Do not get caught with half of your gains disappearing, right? Don't get caught. Barry Merritt jumps into the chat saying mining rewards are down and difficulty up on Raptorium. Yes, sir. Yes. So mining rewards are down with difficulty up. That's why it's especially important to be cautious and to have a plan, right? While others are fighting over table scraps when it comes to mining and mining profits, we have to be cautious and wise stewards over the number of coins that we may already own, we already possess. So be really careful, guys. Have a plan. Not going to belabor that point anymore. Wound Arrow is our biggest loser, still holding solid though at 22 cents, 22.5 cents. Kudos to John and the team over at Wound Arrow, guys. If you're watching this, big ups. You guys run a clean game. You guys run a really great test net for Monero, and I appreciate the work that you do. Really, privacy advocates, we do owe a gratitude to the Wound Arrow team. They do a lot that makes its way into the main code base, the main repos of Monero. So kudos to the Wound Arrow team. They're not just a meme coin, they're also a test net. It's a lot of fun, guys. I love seeing that. Moving from our CPU mineable portfolio, though, guys, let's check out our ASIC mineable portfolio, where we also see our total P&L. All right, catch up. Total P&L, very, very similar to the hard drive mining portfolio. Here's the difference. In my mind, the difference with the ASIC mining portfolio is that with ASIC mineable coins, we see something more along the lines of a much more slow and steady growth. We expect a lot of these coins to be slow and steady growth. Go Mining Token is a little bit different. As we know, this is more of tokenized mining. It's really more getting exposure indirectly to mining on ASICs. It's not really an ASIC mineable coin, so just take that with a grain of salt. It's there on the list, but it's not strictly speaking an ASIC mineable coin. Zcash, on the other hand, is very much ASIC mineable on your Equihash based miners, your A9Z Masters, and similar, right, from all the various ASIC mining manufacturers. And so it's back in the money, very clearly back in the money. Upward channel for this week. Last 7 days, it's done phenomenally well. 24 hours, not so much, but last 7 days up over 75%. So Zcash is doing awesome, but I think it's still performing kind of relatively within range, and just kind of helping us keep stasis within this portfolio, right? We're above zero, but not by a whole lot. These are kind of slow and steady movers. Biggest loser, though, is Pirate Chain, and I think it's probably going to be impacted negatively on the mining side, right, on the NetHash side, by Zcash doing so well. For example, if you see that Zcash is in the money day to day with your ASIC mining portfolio or with your ASIC miners, your Equihash-based miners, why wouldn't you mine Zcash over Pirate Chain? Especially now that on some of the thin clients, or some of the light wallet clients, like Edge Wallet, you now have native Z to Z transactions on Zcash. Guys, I don't often say it, but kudos. Kudos to the Zcash team for making that finally happen. Now, the light clients, the light wallets, the third-party light wallets finally have native privacy support, right? So you are private by default. You can be private by default on some of the Zcash wallets. Now, that said, I do have my doubts about the governance of this token. I do have my doubts about the leadership of this coin. I do have my doubts about the future development of this coin. I do have my doubts about a lot of sides of Zcash. But if I have 99 doubts, Z to Z transactions on light clients ain't one. That was a mouthful. But you get what I'm saying, guys. That's a big deal when it comes to a privacy coin. They're trying to take aim at the Pirate Chain team. So that's pretty important for them to do that. Let's see. Jeremy De Jesus is in the chat, says I'm late. It's all right, man. We appreciate you being here. Greg Moravec says, wow, Nero holds strong. Yep. It's the new stable coin of these CPU mineable currencies, apparently. He says the math for shared nodes looks promising in RTM, not advice. Yep, no, totally agreed. It is nice that there's more than one way to earn with RTM, with Raptorium. Guys, back in our portfolio here, though, we see some of our bigger losers, though, are also Dogecoin and Bytecoin. Dogecoin at 20 cents and dropping. I'm not shocked, as Dogecoin is a project that is very light on fundamentals and very heavy on hype. So kind of interesting that WowNero, being a meme coin and all, is just the opposite. It's very light on hype, very heavy on fundamentals. So I just for me personally, maybe it's a little bit of my sadism showing, but I'm personally happy when I see Dogecoin down and WowNero up. That's just my take on the markets in general, guys. I love seeing builders of fundamentally good technologies be rewarded. Just, makes you feel good. See the guys who are working hard get their due. But that's our ASIC mining portfolio, guys. Moving on to FPGA mining. FPGA mining is a lot like our CPU mining. It's the Cadena show. Real talk. That's what's propping up this portfolio. Yes, 0x Bitcoin is actually doing very well. It's doing admirably for the fundamentals of this project. But at almost 200% up, you're looking at after $1,000 in, you're looking at maybe $800 of profit over many, many months. And Cadena in that same time frame will have rewarded you for $1,000 investment, will have rewarded you with 1/4 of 100 large, 25 grand. Good grief. I mean, again, unbelievable multiples. Now imagine if you put in whatever, $10,000. If you had $100,000 that you wanted to invest into, say, the team of Cadena, that scale was linear. You would have done just as well on those, adding those zeros. So pretty amazing to see that. Digibyte, our biggest loser, still down in the dumps. It's sad because they've worked really hard to build a community and to build a lot of hype and good memeology. Right? Digibyte owns, they own all the GIFs on Twitter. If you ever try to find a Bitcoin GIF on Twitter, forget about it. It's going to come back as a Digibyte GIF. They own all the memes there. They've done phenomenal work. So kudos, where it's due. They've done really great work there. It's sad to see their price so depressed. All right, moving from FPGAs into proof-of-stake smart contracts. And again, we've seen this before. No big changes, no big surprises here. Phantom, Terra, Solana, Avalanche, Wax. That's our top 5. And Avalanche, it's done really well recently until it stopped performing as well as it should have. Phantom is doing much better in terms of price performance, but really not all that much better. We're seeing gains in the below 500% range, but guys, all things being equal, these are projects that are strong on fundamentals. So to see them strong on fundamentals and to see them performing so well is pretty rare, pretty unique thing. Pretty awesome to see, to be honest. So great to see that. If you have exposure to any of these projects, you're probably doing well, right? If you have some Avalanche, if you have some Solana, if you have some Terra, Phantom, And again, especially Wax. Wax at under $1, I think, is still just great. Wax below $1, of course, well below $1, was a phenomenal buy, obviously. It did very well. It was not in the top 5 before. But Wax below $1, I think, is still a phenomenal deal. And especially because of this market cap at less than $1.5 billion, I do believe that Wax could take its rightful place next to a lot of these other smart contract platforms with a $5 billion or a $10 billion market cap. I can see that very easily and see Wax at well over $1, well over $3, nearing $5 or more. So just be aware, as a fundamental project for NFTs, I think, kudos to the bro Ken Bosak. He built on a platform that had serious partnerships, serious protocol alignment, and it's paid off. It was a long bet. The homeboy did so well. I cannot express how proud I am of Ken Bosak for picking this winner and then building on it, right? Like, not just being passive, but getting out there and building something meaningful. So hopefully we do see that with some of these other smart contract platforms. Solana has no shortage of building and builders on top of it, but at almost $60 billion, I think we don't have that headroom the way you do on Wax and Harmony and others, right? Cosmos is another one. You've been hearing me say it for a while. At a less than $10 billion market cap, it's a crying shame, right? And Cosmos per coin can definitely go up higher, as well as the total market cap because of the total value locked that continues to grow. And the massive, what's called IBC network, that is a bunch of interconnected platforms that all run on top of Cosmos as sort of a base layer or base operating system, we'll say. So don't sleep on Cosmos. It is coming up. Moving down the list, guys, we see Internet Computer still our biggest loser. Moonriver still needs to be added to this. Guys, I'll add this, I think, after our show goes live today. I don't want to bore you with details there on adding something while we're live. Serpent X also says Atom is undervalued. I agree, brother. Absolutely. Serpent X also says Polkadot is a good project. I'm just upset they keep raising the bar on staking limit. I ain't rich, and it's hard to keep up with, so I stopped trying. Man, do I hear you? Do I ever hear you there? So our friend Claudio from Cryptos Chain, who is sort of like my in-network sort of peer content creator, peer mentor in this space on Polkadot ecosystem, he too has been telling me about the growing pains of like, hey man, I got in early and I'm struggling to stake to the correct level. So with the parachain auctions going live, it is unfortunately it's not the retail players game right now. It's going to the VCs. It's going to the people who have that backing, right, of other people with deep pockets. So kind of sad to see that because it is pretty strong as a fundamental project. But yeah, Polkadot also at nearly $40 billion for the market cap. Can Polkadot go to whatever, $70 per coin? Can it go to $100 per coin? Absolutely it can. The likelihood of that happening? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I think that sort of the indecision between having things on testnet with Kusama and then the various other associated projects and ecosystem plays, I think Polkadot needs to decide what it wants to be when it grows up, like Vega is saying, and who it wants to be friends with. If it wants to be friends with retail players, you gotta price it as a retail game, right? And I think if they do that, they could see a doubling. Right? We could see $70 Polkadot. We could see a market cap of over $70 billion. But I think probably not with the way it's been developed recently. There's a reason that it dropped out of the top 5, where it was in the top 5 not that long ago for this portfolio. So hopefully we do see a return to that kind of relative strength. But yeah, I think a couple things that have to change. And yeah, those staking limits are just one of them, like Vega was saying before. Moving from our proof of stake smart contracts, guys, into our junk drawer. And I've got an addition that needs to be made here, and I think it needs to be made live. Promised it last night, so I'm going to go ahead and make this live. But in our junk drawer, we still got Saitama Inu. One punching our profits into a fine vapor. Guys, $1,000 in Saitama Inu in the end of May. Netted over $1 million profit. It's crazy town, guys. It's clown world crazy town. Where in the world are profits like this even possible? Because even playing penny stocks back in the day, right? The early penny tech stocks and early like med tech stocks of the 90s and early 2000s, right? With people who skipped all of the .com nonsense and went straight into stuff that had strong fundamentals. They didn't see gains like this. Even playing those penny stocks. This is unbelievable. All right, guys, looks like we've got plenty of viewers to hit those thumbs up. Looks like we've maybe whoever was lurking before has decided to go away. Appreciate you guys being here live. But Saitama Inu is just punching our profits into outer space. Bottom of this list, though, is DeFi Yield Protocol, only because we don't have an entry point yet. Let's go ahead and add that. I'll open this up to add a transaction and open up a new tab with DeFi Yield Protocol. Looks like current price is 65 cents per coin, down 10% over the last 24 hours, but that's all right. It's all right, guys. We're not measuring it over the last 24 hours. We need to drop down to our, here we go, to our date range. So, yep, that ought to do it. Go to May 25th and jump back to May 26th as well as our next date. And there we go. Thank you very much, portfolio. Let's get to the right date. Go to May 26th and go to 5:30-ish p.m. So there we go. 5:09 p.m. is going to have to do it. 86:06:28. Looks like this is not going to be as happy a story as I thought. So 86:06:28. Oh, ouch. Don't like that, but we got to put it in anyway. We need to see roughly what it's been doing over the last little while. And alrighty, let's use my calculator. 86:06:28 and select my output there, copy it and paste it in here from the calculator. So we got an even $1,000 that goes in. Hey, that's not bad. We even got it down to the minute. Don't mind that at all. But I don't have the correct date, so we jump on back in time to May 26th. Now we got it. All right, go ahead and add that. Submit, and DYP is now in our portfolio. And looks like it's not going to be as big a drawdown as some of our others. Looks like it created that. Should update to show us DeFi Yield Protocol above even refinance. That's great to see. It's above refinance, below Rug Zombie, and still on our leaderboard for the junk drawer. Guys, it's kind of interesting to see, even like with Hex at 18.5 cents, people who are big time like Moonboy number go up, players in this space, to see that Hex is barely even in a top 10 for this lineup of the portfolio, and the rest of our top 10 is dominated by meme coins. Guys, I think that's our show for the day. Definitely appreciate you being here with me live. Thank you for slamming that thumbs up, guys. Appreciate you being subscribed. Appreciate you being supportive. I know we're on the road, so this is a bit more Spartan. Appreciate you tuning in, being a great community member, being the mentor that you wish you had when you got started on your cryptocurrency journey, guys. Thank you for smashing like. Thank you for being subscribed, clicking notifications on. You're the reason I make this media, guys. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.